Hello, everyone, and blessed be. I was making some lamp black, and I was in the process and then thought, maybe this might make a good video. So, if you have been interested in lamp black, or if you have heard the term, I thought I would just show how I do it and talk a little bit about it. Lamp black is also called carbon black. It is a form of carbon, and you can think about it as super fine charcoal. The end results are this, and it's one of the oldest known pigments and used by many, many cultures. It was used a lot as the basis for traditional black ink, paints, varnish, you name it. If it needed to be colored black, they probably use this for that. Normally, it is collecting of the black soot in an oil lamp. Some people have used the scrapings on the side of their fireplaces. And there's many ways to do this at home. This is just one of the ways I do it. Just some heads up, it is not a fast process by any means. You are going to need a lot of time, a lot of spare time. You're going to need an area that has no draft at all, because the stuff is basically soot and will go flying everywhere and ruin everything you just worked to collect. And again, it's not a fast process whatsoever. Again, like I said, many ways to do this. Magical uses, I use it for dyeing candles. Sometimes in black salt, I will use it to make sigils at times. You can use this to make magical ink. And this is what I was doing today, is I was making some tea lights. This one isn't super dark, but, and then this one, the wick kind of got wonky on me, but you can use it in that. It has a hard time mixing with water, so usually people will use some type of alcohol base, and that's what you do when you're making inks as well. But again, so you're going to need a freestanding candle, meaning not inside a glass, because you're going to need direct contact with that flame. And if it's in a tall glass, very quickly that flame is not going to be exposed. I use a spoon, and then you're going to need something to scrape it off the spoon. It could be, I've also used index cards to do the scraping. Whatever tools you want. There's a lot of videos on how to make these into something, like make them into inks or things like that. I'm just showing how I collect the lamp black. And fair warning, children should not do this. And if they do, it should be extremely supervised by an adult, because you're going to hold this directly in that flame. This can get hot, and just because you're working with candles too, safety first. But you have to, like I said, you have to stick whatever you're using. Obviously, it shouldn't be flammable. Metal seems the best option. I've seen people on other videos they set up things right here to hold a piece of slate over the top, or a piece of something over the top, and let it do its thing. This is just how I do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the underside. You could do this side if you want to. Totally fine. Either side works. I'm just showing this side for right now. And you're going to And again, this can get hot. Depending on what tool you're using is how fast it's going to get hot. So please watch for that. You know, use an oven mitt or something if you want to. But you have to actually put it in the flame. You have to disrupt the flame. And then you just move it around and it starts to create that soot. Hopefully you can see that. That soot is starting to collect on there. Like I said, very slow process because this creates a very small amount. Very small. So again, if you come up with a different setup that has a bigger surface, you're definitely going to get more. But then I give it a quick second to cool down. Move this back a bit. Make sure you can see this. And then I'm going to take this spoon. I'm reaching over the camera, sorry. And I'm going to scrape this into this jar. And sorry if it's making that horrible sound where metal against metal. I know that's some people's nail on a chalkboard sound, so, but you can see the little pieces if you can. Even in a place where I have no draft of any kind, I have no fan on, no open window nearby, and it still will blow around. Oops, sorry. So I strongly suggest you put something underneath it and around it. It will stain. It's kind of a sticky residue that you'll get, and it will come off you with soap and water. However, depending on what you have laying around you, you could end up with a staining situation because, again, it is used as a pigment in many things. But, so I've scraped a lot of that off, and then again, and you just get the tiniest amount. Now you can hold it here and let it thicken so that you get more each time, but you still only have so much you can collect. Very, very, very slow process. I like it. It's very relaxing to me, very meditative. I spend time looking in the flame, thinking about the process, thinking about the pieces of it, thinking about my day. And again, you have to disrupt that flame. Holding it up here is not going to get you, holding it way up here is not going to get you what you want. You actually have to get into the flame itself. And my spoon isn't hot yet at all. But again, depending on what you are using is how fast the handle or whatever you're using to hold it is going to get hot. Also, too, the spoon is getting hot, so be careful where you lay it down at. And then I always just give it a few seconds to cool off, and then a scraping and collecting I will go. This time I left it in longer, so I got a bit more. But again, as you can see, very slow process. I like it. I don't know that I would say it's like being back in the olden days. You know, they did what they had to do. I don't have to do this. I'm wanting to do this, but I feel very connected to it when I do it this way. So again, back in here. And having this in a baby food jar is not the best situation. I would suggest, I suggest glass, but I suggest something with a much more stable top, because if this spilt over, you know, and onto your rug or something like that, you're going to have a situation. So I will be transferring this. I've kept it in this jar for a long time and haven't had an issue, but I kind of feel like I'm tempting fate on that one. So I will be putting it in a container that has a much more secure top. So again, here we are, we're collecting that soot. If you want to try it with a lamp, that's fine. If you want to use your fireplace, that's fine. I have not tried those, so I am only going to show you what I have tried. Now I can start feeling the heat on the spoon. When I get to right about here on this spoon, it is hot. It is very hot. So I'm going to let this cool. I'm going to collect it. And once you're on your last round of it, I would really make sure you go through and clean absolutely as much of it off as you can. This becomes very precious. As you can see, it just floating around. And then I'm going to put this on a heat-safe surface, and or even just like this, if I can do it with the camera. There. And I'm going to let that spoon cool off. If I'm going to come back to it, I can snuff or blow out the candle and then continue on. But as you can see, it takes a really long time to collect. If you are impatient, it's probably not the thing for you unless you want to work on your patience. But again, too, to me, it's very calming. It's a very meditative time. You do have to have the time and no drafts whatsoever. But I just thought I would share how I make and collect my Lampblack. And if you do this, I'd love to hear in the comments how you make yours. Challenges, pros and cons that you've come across, what you use it for. And if you would please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you know when I upload more videos. Blessed be.